news alert. Donald Trump just left the firehouse after mixing it up a bit after court with cops and firefighters at the FDNY firehouse in Manhattan. And that comes as the liberal media is in a bit of a panic this morning, fretting over how the images of chaos on college campuses could negatively impact the re-election prospects of President Biden.
This is not helping the people of Gaza, and this is not helping those of us who want to fight fascism in America.
Are you really focusing on what's going on in Gaza, about the children, about the women, about the innocent people? And in Israel, they've lost the message.
You care about Joe Biden being elected? Then let's stop fooling around here. We have to condemn any kind of violence, any kind of exclusion. You can't have any tolerance for anti-Semitism, for example.
We've got to ring some alarm bells. They see violence and they see protests on college campuses. They see young people calling Joe Biden Genocide Joe, and it scares people.
Harkening back to the 1930s in Europe, and I do not say that lightly. The fear among Jews in this country is palpable right now.
Meanwhile, President Biden is finally making good on his promise to unite the country. This was amazing, but it might not have been the way he expected. A group of pro-Israel and pro-Palestinian protesters at the University of Alabama uniting in a chant against him. That is, I haven't been able to stop thinking about that all day. There's also just incredible, the images that you're seeing. And I wonder if when the president watched Morning Joe, which apparently he watches every day, he realized, wow, it's so bad, I'm going to have to say something today.
All I heard was, let's go, Brandon. I don't know what you guys are talking about. The Democrats, they got a terror problem. They have a hate problem. You know, those protesters asked for the knee pads because they're blowing Hamas. And this is a Democrat problem, right? Those zip ties and ropes, that wasn't for a little S&M play, right? They were going to have hostages. Did you ever think about that, Biden? They were planning on getting hostages. I'm surprised they didn't ask for hang gliders. This is the case with every major crisis that America faces, whether it's crime, border, or Hamas. It doesn't matter to the left until it matters politically. When it becomes a threat is when it threatens their power. You know, the Democrats denied the post-Floyd crime wave until they saw the polls. The Dems ignored the border until they saw the buses coming to their cities and their political livelihoods in danger. And now, never mind the October 7th denialism or the kill the Jews chants or the rampant crime on campuses. It's the optics of that worries them because it hits the politics. Mika, speaking of Morning Joe, I can't figure out which one's Dumb and Dumber. She said the protests look like January 6th. You have to understand, she said looks like, right? That's all that matters to them is what it looks like. January 6th was nothing like any of this. January 6th was a single day of unruly outrage over an election by people who actually love America and do not chant death to America like these folks. This might look like January 6th, but it's 1,000 times worse because they're preaching the death of other people. If you look at it through a moral lens and not a political one, you would have figured this out.
I had to go back and check something, Judge. On Monday, I had seen that Mika Brzezinski on Morning Joe had said, oh my gosh, this looks like January 6th. Today, this morning, Al Sharpton said, it's like January 6th. And she said, you can't compare, don't compare it to January 6th. And I said, wait, I said to my assistant, wait, didn't she compare? Yes, so the images speak for themselves.
They speak for themselves, and obviously she had to pull back from it because you know what happened on January 6th. Everyone was hunted down. Mm-hmm. They went to the banks, they got your credit cards, found out where you bought your gas, whether or not you bought lunch in D.C. I mean, and if they can do that to lock up the people on the right, they can certainly do that to lock up a lot of these protesters who are covering themselves so they can't be identified. But I want to say one thing, Dana. I see de Blasio up there, the former mayor in New York City, and all of a sudden he says, we can't engage in anti-Semitism. Well, in 2020, there was a revered rabbi who died. And I mean, thousands of Jews came out. de Blasio came out himself with the police and ordered that the police immediately summons and arrest the Jews who were there. I mean, he has such a bad history toward Jews, and now all of a sudden, we shouldn't engage in any kind of anti-Semitism. And unfortunately, what we have in this country is the fear among Jews in this country today is palpable. I mean, all of the reminders are there, whether it's pre-World War II with Kristallnacht with a glass breaking or not allowing Jews into buildings. I mean, this is frightening stuff. And so Biden now, because he's worried about the progressives, he's just trying to make sure that, there isn't any Islamophobia, as if, someone has claimed that there's Islamophobia out there today. But Biden has caused this himself, because in 2020, when he ran against Donald Trump, it was the right versus the left. But in 2024, it's going to be the right versus the left versus the progressive left. Mm-hmm. And Biden created that mess. Mm-hmm. And, when he comes out and he says, well, we believe in free speech and we believe in the right to protest. I don't want to hear you say that, Biden. Just get to it. Just condemn it. Just say it's criminal and they need to be prosecuted. And he sounds like the college and university professors, as though he's qualifying it. You can do this and you can't. No, this is unacceptable. And finally, the left is silent because they're in lockstep with the progressives here. And so, they started by saying for Hamas, this is terrible. Civilians are dying. The Palestinians are dying. And then the next thing is they don't have food. They don't have medical care. We got to help them. And then finally, now it's kill the Jews. Yep. And that's where they are.
All right. They want me to go fast here, but I did want to make a point that on academia, listening to the Call Me Back podcast today with Dan Senor, apparently it's already happening where professors who are Jewish are being quietly uninvited to conferences, or they're being not asked to submit papers to things what you would normally have in academia. So there's also a quiet anti-Semitism happening, Harold.
Look, we should denounce anti-Semitism. I think Greg was right at the outset. This is the issue at hand. I think one of the reasons, and I didn't necessarily think it was right, one of the reasons when during Black Lives Matter, people talked about Black Lives Mattering was because of the things we were dealing with, and people would say Blue Lives Matter, which I thought was true, and White Lives Matter, period. But at this moment, because he hadn't spoken, I agree with Greg, he should have just said, this is the issue at hand, and we need to address it head on. Two, Greg, I'd be curious to in reaction. One of the things you said a few weeks ago, you talked about these I don't know why we say pro-Hamas. Tyrus is on here today. If you're Hamas, you're a terrorist. You don't have to be pro-terrorist. You're just a terrorist if you're Hamas. And you said you don't want these people voting for Trump. You don't want that group voting for. We got to figure out how we re-educate and make these people aware to the extent they don't know, or we just arrest them and then we try to teach them. Two, to your point, Judge, we should hold everyone accountable. I hope every exhaustive way we rightly went after January 6 criminals, we should go after these criminals here, and we should go after these people imparting violence on our campus, in our neighborhoods. I was in Atlanta yesterday, and it was interesting, driving by campuses, watching these kids outside, aid to Gaza, stop the genocide. One had a pro-Hamas. No one had released the hostages.
Yep. Right.
I mean, I think it's a credible argument to make if you're saying, I understand the argument. I want a two-state solution. I believe we have to figure out ways you can be pro-get aid to Gaza and be in favor of Israel. You can be in favor of ensuring that we try to save lives and at the same time release the hostages. I don't understand how you're not that way if you're on that side protesting. All you do is feed the notion, perhaps rightly so, that maybe you are against Israel and are not for peace, but are for a violence that many of us are opposed to. And finally, to your point, Dana, I think I haven't heard the thing with Senor, but I know this. The whole idea of tenured professors on campus, we're going to have to reevaluate all of that. Tenured professors cannot teach their kids to go out and preach and impart violence. They can teach them to make their case and do it peacefully. But those who are advocating violence, they should be fired.
All right, Jesse, Biden didn't exactly turn off Paw Patrol today.
It's a great show, Bill.
I saw 3 episodes of Paw Patrol this morning, and I got to tell you, I am just engaged. The media understands that chaos for an incumbent is a killer. And that's why they pushed the riots under Trump And that's why they're trying to hide the riots now, because it's deadly. They see it as a PR problem. They're not saying, let's stop hating Jews. They're just saying, hey, guys, don't you know there's cameras out there? Because it threatens their access to power, and it hurts their talking points. They've been talking about right-wing violence for 3 years. Now they can't talk about it anymore. And we know better than anybody around this table, the images on the screen are powerful. Yep. You've had the Kabul airport. You've had migrants. You've had Ukraine. You've had Gaza. You've had crime. And you're going into a convention in Chicago where there's going to be action. And going into the summer to have this on campus, they're going to need more than Steven Spielberg.
Not even just this summer. Wait till next fall. I know we got to go.
Hey, Sean Hannity here. Hey, click here to subscribe to Fox News YouTube page and catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis. You will not get it anywhere else.